Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our first podcast. We are live. Hi, Ava. You can turn your camera on, your unmute, and you can take over the session.
Okay. Hey everybody. Welcome to our first um episode of this podcast. Um, Excited to kind of do this podcast throughout the summer. And hopefully we kind of can get like more of a background on what Anya's wellness is, um, and kind of what it means to heal the whole body, and everything that goes along with this company. Our episode today is going to be what does it mean to heal the whole person, and kind of a background of what Anya's wellness is, and what the inspiration for this company was.
Awesome. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Anya's Wellness Podcast. This is our first time, so we don't even have a name just yet, I don't believe. Ava is one of our interns for the summertime, and so this is a project that she will be heading. And so we're excited and delighted to have her be our host for the Anya's Wellness Podcast. And so we're going to be talking about all things healing and wholeness. And with that, we'll let you start how you want to start. My name is Anya
Okay.
Ware, by the way.
Okay, so the first kind of thing I want to do um, is kind of just introduce Anya's Wellness. So, what kind of like inspired the creation of Anya's Wellness?
Okay, great question. So, my name is Anya Ware. I am the founder and owner of Anya's Wellness, which is a division of a Soothing and Comforting Touch Massage Therapy Incorporated, which was the very first baby of this particular company, and which is the foundation and the actual corporation of this business. Anya's Wellness was developed or uh, given to me in 2020 during a very hard time of this world being with the disease of COVID and all, but God changed the name from the long name to Anya's Wellness, and He wanted me to really focus on Anya's Well. So oftentimes you will see the capitalization of Anya's and well in the wellness, and He gave me the. I truly believe that God gave me that for this business because there's so many different parts of this company that will allow wholeness and healing for our clients. And so, just to give a small smidget of how I got started in this business, this was not something that I chose to do, but I had always wanted to be in business for myself since I can remember being 7 years old. And so, basically, this was a prayer that I prayed that was answered in a way that I was not expecting for it to be answered. And so the business started out with massage therapy. Um, there's a whole nother story behind how I got involved in that, but basically heard the voice of God say, go back to school. And I was obedient enough to finally go back to school, started the massage therapy practice, and then later moved into the mental health counseling portion after being told to go back again. So I have my master's degree in mental health counseling, and then I'm also a ordained apostle of Anya of a Ware ministry. Excuse me. And so God really just brought all three of those things together and said, this is where He was taking me. And it's amazing because this is literally what I prayed for as a 7 year old, not understanding what I was asking for, but I'm actually living what my prayer was at 7 years old. And I love every day. I love doing what I do. I couldn't ask for a better career or, profession. It's just amazing that this is where I am now.
Yeah, oh, that's so cool. It's cool how everything kind of like lines up when his timing is right.
Yeah.
Another question that I have is why is it important to address the body, mind, and spirit together rather than separately? Because a lot of what this company kind of stands for is like you have to heal the whole body rather than just healing everything separately. So, what does that kind of like mean to you?
That means everything to me. And it wasn't until I had a supervisor or colleague in the mental health profession explain to me one day, Anya, you are really going to go far in this business because you get it. And I was like, I get what? And she was like, you get the whole person. It's not just one thing you're focusing on. And so she just really encouraged me to keep pushing forward. But I love this question because I truly believe if one thing is out of whack, then everything is out of whack. That's just how I look at it. So I used to when even when it was just the massage therapy part of the business, I would always tell them if your shoulder is not working properly, then your neck is out of alignment as well, or then you might end up with some tension in your head where now you're receiving headaches. So I've always been about systems, it seems like. And I think that's partially that comes from who my father is and why I started this business in the first place. He looks at things as a system, as wholeness, as being completely healed. You can't just heal one part and then leave the rest of it to die. So I really, really believe that in order for wholeness to take place, and wholeness is, completely being aligned, healthy, whole. So when we allow ourselves to heal the whole person, then the healing that took place to me is more beneficial. It's just not compartmentalized because if you have one thing that's out of alignment, to me, everything is wibbly wobbly and out of alignment. So I love to work on the whole person.
Yeah. Next question that I have is what are some signs that a person's wellness is out of balance? So that's kind of can go with the last question, but what are some like signs that you can see that either their body's out of whack or their
Mm.
mind or their spirit is kind of out of balance?
Yeah. Clients come to me oftentimes and they may say, if they're coming to me for a massage, it's interesting that long before I even went back to school for the counseling part, I was already doing what I'm doing now that I'm licensed for now. Let me say it that way. But individuals will come to me and um maybe they were having tension in their upper shoulders or in their head, having chronic headaches, things of that nature. So, stress is definitely a silent killer and sometimes a painful one, or most of the times a painful one. But also, with that, as a massage therapist, I learned about trigger points and different parts of the body and how once I release one part, another part would release. Excuse me. And so to me, that was called referred pain. And so a lot of times well, I'm going to say I understand that a lot of things start in your mind. And so the way we think about ourselves oftentimes reflect in what we're going through in our bodies and um it's a spillover. And so when we um let me see how I want to say it. So when there is one thing or one part of let's say maybe the mental capacity. Maybe somebody's tired in their mind. Well, it also reflects in their bodies. Oftentimes, they'll have aches and pains in places that they didn't even know that they had. And once I release those areas physically, mentally, they are able to relax, anxiety releases, and then the spiritual aspect of that, all of that comes, I have people from all types of faiths that come to me, and then some are non-faith. But once they realize that there's that other part of us being a spirit being, and that we have to make sure that the whole person is taken care of in a sense of I've released their shoulders now. Now they have the release in the mental capacity. um, I try to explain. to the best of my ability without being offensive to some who may not believe the way I believe, but try to explain that as us being spirit beings, there's probably a deeper meaning spiritually, as to why we're holding the different aches and pains and the stress in our body, as well as the anxiety that people experience, from a spiritual standpoint. Unforgiveness. I talk about that a lot of times. Unforgiveness is a heart issue. If somebody's coming to me and they're having chest issues often, probably has something to do with their heart. But I will refer out and say go and check out, or go and get your doctor to check your heart and make sure everything is fine. But when they come back and everything came back clean, oftentimes I'll say, okay, so now let's think about where could this particular issue be coming from a spiritual standpoint. Is there some unforgiveness that you're experiencing, and we work through those types of things in order to help them overall heal the whole person. I hope I answered that
Yeah,
without
you
rambling.
did. Yeah, I love how
Okay.
you answered that because it's cool because
Okay.
there's even like science to back up what you're saying too. It's
Yeah.
um, there's been science and kind of studies that show that how you talk to yourself, it reflects your body. So like if you're
Yeah.
constantly stressed or constantly talking negative, like you're gonna reflect that. So I love how you answered that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My next question is, what are common misconceptions people have about like healing? It can be kind of healing the mind, healing the body, healing the spirit, but what are some misconceptions people have about that?
Ooh. Misconceptions. I know. Well, I got a few. Well, some of it could be related from a spiritual standpoint. Some people can look at it as, this is something wicked that we're doing, but from a biblically spiritual standpoint or perspective, I look at it as, I'm helping do the the work that my father, you know, required of Jesus as he was here. He went out. He was among those that were sick, those that needed help, and so with this profession, I'm helping those that are going through different issues, whether it's physically, mentally, or spiritually. I'm here to be a culprit, sort of speak, just to help them through whatever healing that they need, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, financial. We go through all of those things, especially with the retreats that we have. We have, individuals that might come in and talk about your financial healing. I mean, there's so many parts of being whole that can be touched upon. But I was just talking about the first or the three that I specifically work on a daily basis, which is your body, your mind, and your spirit. Um, but the misconception is, maybe everything isn't spiritual, or maybe massage therapy isn't beneficial. I know when I first started my business years ago, I've been in business now for over 20, to be 25 years next March. And I know that a lot of people looked at it as it was just a luxury to get a massage. You know, for right, even still today for counseling, people are shunned because you're crazy if you go to get counseling. And then from the spiritual standpoint, people may be like, well, you know, I don't necessarily believe in Jesus. So there are different types of misconceptions that people will have from my from the business of for Anya's Wellness, but it's mainly um, that most people have considered it more of a luxury, because that's the primary business that I've had for this length of time. And most people thought, well, I don't necessarily need what they're offering because I can't afford it. It's just a luxury type thing. It's not necessary, but healing is definitely necessary. Wholeness is definitely necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially in this day and age, a lot of people can definitely benefit from the counseling, the massage. Um,
Right.
I know even I can benefit from it. Like I've gotten massages in the past and it does really help. And especially even like the counseling standpoint, like I even have my own mentor. So I think
So
anybody can really benefit from it.
Yeah.
Next question that I have is what role does massage therapy play in overall wellness beyond like
Oh,
just being relaxing, but like what role does it play like in your overall wellness?
yeah. Well, so that it's relaxing. I mean, anybody that doesn't like massage, and I have met people that do not like massages, believe it or not. Yes. Um, but overall, aside from the relaxation standpoint of it, it helps. I'm manipulating your soft tissues and your muscles and um, um, you know, relaxing your joints, even, as I'm massaging or doing some effleurage or petrissage over, your body. Aside from the relaxation standpoint, I'm healing you from the inside out. And that's one thing. And I guess that could have been a misconception too, that, massage is just for, like I said, the luxury part and it's not really doing anything. But for me, my clientele has always said that um, they are glad that they're my client because I take care of their body. And early on, I didn't really understand what they meant. Now that I'm years into it, and I've seen clients that started with me. Maybe they were in their late 20s and maybe now they're in their 50s or I would say 40s or something like that. To see how their body is still able to get around because of the massage, they're consistent with getting their massage therapy. Just like they go to the doctor or somebody would go to the doctor, they're consistent with coming to get their massages, and it really does benefit healing them from the inside out. I tell people all the time, they ask me, Anya, how do you know exactly where to go when massaging me? And I'm like, I don't. I'm following my hands. My hands are often heat up when while I'm massaging people, and I'll know just from the feel of their tissues and their muscles that there's something there, and um, it might be something that they need to go, get checked out from a doctor, or it might be something that just goes away during the session. But either way, they're being healed from the inside out. And I think that that's what's important because, um, and it also links up to the rest of the mental part, because once you got the body situated, it's amazing how so much of what's going on the outside chaos, we absorb it into the inside of us, and we don't really think about it in that way because we're busy people, but so much is being absorbed. And when someone is on my table getting a massage, yes, they're relaxing, but also I'm absorbing all of that chaos and I'm getting rid of it, if that makes sense. So um, really it's helping them heal from the inside out. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Next question that I have is what are some simple ways people can improve their mental wellness every day? So rather than like if they just have busy lives and they can't really like come to counseling like every week or whatever, or massaging, or like you said, a lot of people say like, oh, like it's really expensive. But what are some just simple ways that people can improve their like mental healing every day or mental health every day?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one thing I do, you can pray. If you're not a person that feels like you know how to pray, it's simple, just talking, just like this. That's prayer. But so prayer is very important to me. How you talk to yourself. You know, you have enough negativity in the world that's going to talk to you negatively. So just being mindful and emotionally regulated when it comes to how you talk to yourself. What are you thinking about yourself? Are you thinking that I'm beautiful? I am worthy of this. I am enough. I'm smart. I can accomplish this. Those are types of things that you speak to yourself. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so if you're speaking positively, if positive stuff is in your heart, you're going to speak positive. If negative things are in your heart, you're going to speak negative. But I really think, speaking, it's life and death. And, you have power in your tongue. So if you speak positive affirmations, I know that's really big right now. Maybe even putting around, putting them on your mirror in your room or in the restroom on the mirror, something just to go into your eye gates. I think that your eye gates are very important as well, making sure that you're putting positivity in your eye gates, putting positivity in your ear gates, and then speaking positive things over yourself, because like I said, you got plenty of negativity out here, um, and you don't need to add in on the negativity.
Mhm.
You want to reverse all of that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's definitely very powerful. I have noticed, like, even with people I know, like, um, our day and age just is so negative, but like once you just turn like one negative thing into a positive, like it really just it flips your whole head, it flips everything you're thinking about. So yeah, that's very powerful.
Yeah.
Next question that I have, which kind of goes along with the last one, it's how do you define spiritual wellness? So this is kind of from like kind of a like a Christian standpoint, but how do you
Yeah.
define that?
Well, I have to start with, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And so having a relationship with Christ, which is the only way in, um, is how I believe is the only way to that eternal heavenly state, place, all of that. Um, Spiritually, in order to have spiritual wellness, you have to be a person that believes, have faith. You got to be a person of faith. A lot of times people think, if you just do good deeds, that's spiritual, but it's beyond that. It's, having faith as well. Faith is going to be the main thing before the works. You do need works, because faith without works is dead, but you want to make sure that your faith is intact. And how do you get your faith intact? You read the word of God. That's spiritual wellness. You're feeding your spirit, something that's going to keep you talking and thinking, hearing, like I was talking about in the last question, those things that are positive, keeping our mind on things that are pure and that are virtue, that are of good report, things of that nature. That helps us with spiritual wellness. Um, I probably have more that I want to say, and I'm just drawing a blank. I was saying, but definitely, having a relationship, not a religion, a relationship with Jesus Christ, and studying his word so that I will
Mhm.
know how to walk um, in this earth until he returns. That's spiritual
Yeah,
wellness for me.
yeah. Yeah, I think that kind of goes with the like a misconception people have too, with like you have to only do like only good works can get you into heaven, but it's not true. Like that's not what the Bible
Right,
says. Like it's
right.
believing that like he died for us, like he came, like
Yeah,
Jesus came down to earth, died for us, like took away all the sins, like and then if we believe in him, that will gain like eternal life. And I
yes,
think a lot of the times like people have a hard time um thinking that like it's not just like it's not a religion like what you said, like it's not religion, it's a relationship. Like
yeah,
um the point isn't for us to follow this like very strict like guideline of rules, like it's to just it's have a relationship with him, talk to him,
mhm,
like he is our father, like he's our friend, like that's what
yes.
we need to, yeah, that's
Our
what we need to
friend,
set
yes,
our faith in. Yeah, yeah, I
yes.
love that.
I
um
love that too.
yeah, this question kind of goes with the last one, but why is spiritual nurturing important for healing and wholeness?
Ooh, you know what? When I asked for that part, I had no idea what I was asking for. As a little girl, my prayer was, Lord, one day I want to have my own business, make lots of money doing it, love what I do, and I want it to be in full-time ministry. What was I thinking? I have no idea. And why was I praying like that such a young age? Now, granted, some of those parts did come as I got older, um, like being in full time ministry, but still, I was still young. Um, but one of the things I always want to do, I wanted to make sure I love what I was doing, and you know, was able to see the value, I guess, of what I was doing. But so say the question to me one more time because I want to make sure I answer it correctly.
So it says, why is spiritual nurturing important for healing and wholeness? So why does like kind of everything we were talking about earlier, but why does like having a relationship with him, like why is that important for healing and wholeness?
Because we are not the creator, we are the created. And so the creator decided that we are beautiful and wonderfully and fearfully made. And so because we have been created by a higher being who is God, Abba, the Father, um, it's important for us to nurture our spirit because we need to know um, our assignment here on this earth. So for me, I have an assignment, and it's to, be that mentor for others, to make sure that I share the gospel with others to help nurture them. Because, everybody is not necessarily on the same level when it comes to their relationship with Christ. And so spiritual nurturing is always going to be important because we always need to stay in a place of learning. We never have arrived. We won't have arrived until Jesus comes back. So, and at that point, we need to just be ready, striving for arriving. How about that? Striving for arriving. That's a t-shirt. But but spiritual nurturing is definitely beneficial because or important because if we're not being spiritually nurtured, how do we get to nurture others? So as a leader, I am an ordained apostle, and so because of that, I need to stay in a place where I'm consistently being nurtured by staying in the word so that I can make sure that I'm helping others be nurtured, in the word of God so that their relationship can be built. It's the same thing with being in a relationship with someone, or even in a marriage. You have to nurture it because it's work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool that you say that. Like before we help other people, like we have to be in the word ourselves. And there's a
Yeah,
cool um kind of imagery that I heard like based on that, and it's like you can't like pour water into a cup when the cup is already empty. So you have to fill yourself up with the word, and you have to constantly be striving for that to be able to fill other people up.
yeah,
Yeah. This is kind of a side question that I have, but obviously you said like from a young age you were like you kind of knew what you wanted to do, and you said you knew that you wanted to like be in full ministry. But like how do you like praying that, how do you like trust in that, like that's your purpose, and how do you like keep working towards that and to like learn that that's your purpose? Because I know like a lot of people like they have like trouble like thinking about like, oh, like what's my purpose, like what is the reason that I was put on this earth. Like so how do you kind of lean into that and like trust in him, and that his plan is good, and that like wherever he brings you, that's where he wants you. So how did, like as a little kid, like you figure that out and then trust in that?
yeah. Well, first I gave my life to Christ when I was 7 years old. So I was young when I did that, and just like any other relationship, it's a process. It takes time. You have to get to know each other. You learn what you like about each other. Sometimes you fight with each other. Um, I can say I do all of that with, well, I have, and I probably still do at points when I'm like, huh? But most of the time, I hope I'm walking in obedience today. But I'm not perfect. So I'm sure there's something I do on a daily basis that's displeasing. But throughout the years, there were times where it's a learning experience to trust God with my whole heart. I didn't When I started my business, I didn't have an example. I didn't come from a family of business owners. I was the first, and it came to me in a dream. Um, the specifics. Um, and my family looked at me like, "You said what?" And I was trying to figure out like, how am I going to pay for this business that you're telling me? So I went through this thing, and that's part of that story. That other part of that other story I was telling you, I was like, I have a whole nother story. Um, but that came from me saying, well, God, and I was having an adult temper tantrum at this point. I had just graduated college, and I heard him tell me to go back to school for, and at that time I didn't know what for, but when I finally surrendered, let me say, before I finally surrendered, I had a million and one questions. Well, how am I going to pay for this? And I'm working a minimum wage job, and I don't want to go back to school. I just graduated from school. I mean, I'm literally just talking back, like I said, friends. It's a relationship, so um, I had to learn. I can talk to I can express myself just like he's expressing himself, but we know in the end who wins all the time. He does. So,
Mhm.
um, but I had that moment where trust and faith and taking the leap into the deep, all of that had to be um nurtured in a sense. Those were tests for me. That wasn't something I just had. I didn't just, wake up, or I wasn't just born with this huge amount of faith. Everybody has a measure. However, um, I just took the leap.
Yeah.
So through taking the leap, I had to learn that I would go through different tests to build my faith, to build my trust in this whole process.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Another question I have is, what do you wish people understood about healing?
Mm. Ooh, something I wish people could knew about healing is that it's available for them. There's so many people walking around sick and don't know that there is healing available.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. How do you, um, like, how can you express that to other people, like through what you do? Like, how can you help people learn that, like, it is available and like anybody can do it? You don't have to be like mentally crazy. You can just be a normal person. Like, how can you express that?
Um, that's the challenge, because you gotta persuade the people. I've had to persuade the people that they don't have to be in pain. I have family members who just within the last 2 years, out of all of these years I've been a massage therapist, just got a massage for the first time. And they're like, oh, this feels so good. Really? I've been telling you this for how long? I was
Never
I was
knew.
trying, yeah, I was trying to help your body when it was much younger, and now, you're much older, and you could be even more healthy if you had just listened to me all those other years ago. But so that's the challenge. And then the challenge is trying to get people to understand it's not just a luxury. It's, you can take it as a luxury if that's what you want to, um, see it as. And maybe they do that because of the expense of it. But you go to your doctor, you go to your surgeon, you're going to pay them. You don't
Yeah.
consider that a luxury. You consider that they're supposed to be healing you, but they're treating you. I'm standing flat footed to say I'm willing to say that I can heal. Not me per se, but the
Mhm.
through the spirit that operates through me as I am working with my clients is the healer.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I love how you say like it's not me healing, like
Right.
it's fully like him. It's like him speaking
Yes.
through me. Like when I like interact with people like that, I want them to see him rather than me. Like I want the glory to be back to him. So I love that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I've loved doing this podcast. I have one question left. So
Okay.
what's one small step someone can take this week to improve their wellness?
Okay. Let's go body, mind, and spirit. So one thing physically, um, I would say take some deep breaths and just breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. And when you release that, know that there are some things that you just can't change. Um, and so just let it go. Mentally, think on things that are, try to think on one thing that's positive each day of this week. You got what, like 3 days left or 4 days left, or well, say three. So you got Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Oh, we got Saturday, so 4 days left of this week. So try to think on one thing, one positive thing each day. And if you can't think of something else, just think on that one thing for the rest of the week to help you out. And then spiritually, I would suggest either praying, a simple prayer of help me. God hears your prayers no matter what it is. He hears you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if you're a seasoned believer, you know, maybe this is the opportunity for you to read a chapter in your word. Challenge yourself in all of those areas.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Well, this podcast has been fun doing this. So, if there's anything else you want to say before we log off, those are all my questions. So,
Okay. I think that would be awesome.